The end of ninth edition was, to put it mildly, a very wild time. Not only was the tabletop game going through several rule updates, like making Thousand Suns unkillable assholes, but we also got a new game mode called Boarding Action. Boarding Actions is basically 40k's regular gameplay, but removes the tanks, monsters, and titans to just have regular infantry battles inside spaceships. Genuinely a very fun game mode, but it also tied into the event we are talking about today. Arks of Omen would be the grand send-off to 9th edition and the rule set that had been in place from 8th to 9th edition. So, how do we send them off? Well, GW said that not only do we get a new game mode, but we also get updated models for the Imperial Guard, the first Demon Prince Be'lakor, and Commander Farsight of the Tau Empire. And we also get 3 new units, 2 of them being Primarchs. So, let's talk about Arks of Omen and see how it affected the 40k universe, because as far as I can tell, Arks of Omen is one of those few storylines within Warhammer that actually ended and had lasting consequences. Holy fuck, that's rare. So, Arks of Omen takes place shortly after Abaddon's flight from the Vigilus campaign, after the Eldar fucked up his ship, and he had to relieve the cowardly officers that wanted to run away with his ship. Abaddon's fleet was in rough shape, and he was trying to figure out what to do, to not only resupply, but give his ship repairs. Then, something suspicious happened. A hidden base on the moon of Permagados would be revealed thanks to the efforts of a Black Legion warpsmith, leading to Abaddon's fleet invading the small moon and taking whatever they could get. A Dark Mechanicum tech priest raided the data vaults on the moon, and found an ominous data package. And much like a wizard in your D&D party, he couldn't leave a clearly cursed item be, and took it with him back to the Vengeful Spirit. And as you suspect, shit went wrong! As Abaddon was planning his next move, his forces reported that the Vengeful Spirit was acting up. Silver worms started coming out of the walls, and its wires and interiors attacked the crew. His sorcerers reported where the disturbance came from, and Abaddon marched down to where the tech priest was. He found him in the middle of an unwilling wire shibari session, and after cutting him down and getting the gist of the situation, he sent that tech priest to be tortured. Abaddon was then called back to the bridge, as something was happening there now. Abaddon and his bodyguards returned to the bridge to find its crew, the servitors, and the worms, all being combined into one, manifesting a brand new model for people to buy! Vashtor the Archathane. Now, dealing with demons isn't new to Abaddon. However, Vashtor was already an oddity, as he spoke to Abaddon very bluntly and matter of fact. You see, my friends, Vashtor is a businessman! A demon who is the demigod of inventors, scientists, and artisans. Vashtor is the ruler of the Soulforge, and the Chaos God's weapon dealer, using the Soulforge to make demonic pacts and improving the Chaos God's war effort against each other. Vashtor, unlike other demons, won't actually try to screw you over. He is very blunt and straight to the point. You do X for him and you succeed, then you get Y. You don't complete X for him, and you'll be enslaved to him or his Soulforge. However, in this instance, Vashtor wasn't looking for that. He was looking for help. As Vashtor puts it, being the middleman in the great game is an annoying chore. Dancing to the whim of the 4 ADHD sadomasochists and selling them weapons for however long has caused the Archathane to get bored. So Vashtor proposes a partnership with Abaddon. If Abaddon helps Vashtor ascend to godhood, Vashtor not only will gift him great favors and more weapons than he knows what to do with, but as an added bonus and with no strings attached, he repairs the Vengeful Spirit instantly, making note that the ship's ancient design would have made it impossible to fully repair without demonic assistance. Now, Abaddon isn't stupid or naive, as much as people try to make him out to be. Vashtor may be weird for a demon, but he is still a demon. Even worse, it was a powerful demon wanting to become a god, which could piss off the other 4 gods that he already had pacts with. Though, in his current situation, Abaddon really couldn't turn it down, So, taking the old sinner's hand, Abaddon reluctantly agreed to the deal, leading to the start of our event's plot. Vashdor's plan to godhood is remarkably simple, but also complex. He requires 10 individual artifacts to make what he dubs a special key. Now, 10 artifacts is a lot, especially on a galactic scale, so finding them was going to be like needles in a haystack. But Vashdor reveals that he stacked the deck in his and Abaddon's favor, revealing the titular Arks of Omen, 27 specially designed space hulks that's purpose is to track the artifacts down. Of course, to sweeten his deal with Abaddon, Vashdor says that Abaddon can keep them after they are done. Now, each Ark of Omen has what's called a ferryman aboard, a weird hybrid of human, machine, and demon technology that is like a wayfinder, piloting the ship to wherever one of the artifacts supposedly is. Abaddon then tasks some of his most trusted lieutenants, and some of the more questionably loyal lieutenants, with the search, of course planting agents among his more questionable commanders to make sure they stay on task, or to be eliminated in any case of shenanigans happening. With their new armada, Abaddon and Vashdor were unleashed upon the galaxy. Then, this is the main crux of the event. Arks of Omen show up to random places all over the galaxy. Some planets were barren dust balls with nothing on them. Some were major war zones where Imperial and Xenos forces were completely flabbergasted at the sudden and unexpected Chaos invasion that was equally just as confused as they were. Major incidents include Angron, Primarch of the World Eaters, being summoned to fulfill a pact made with Abaddon, where Angron and his legion of Khorne worshippers and demons attacked the world of Malak Bale, as it had a device known as the Coral Engine, which Angron's forces destroyed, along with spreading a curse among Imperial forces called the Murder Curse, an infliction that makes anyone under it blood-hungry, insane murderers, with only the Sisters of Battle and Custodes proving to be reliably immune. Massive air quotes on that one. Either way, Vashdor got the artifact from the Coral Engine's remains. Now, Book 4 focused on Commander Farsight, and Farsight's story is weirdly only related to the events here, because the Alpha Legion needed to distract him and the orcs he was fighting so that they could get the weird artifact they needed. Yeah, that's really the only reason Farsight's book exists. For our Tau lovers, this book basically just confirms that Farsight is marked for glory and might become a coordinate worshipper like Karn and Angron are. Now, back to the main plot. The rest of the storyline focuses on Vashdor versus the Dark Angels. For those who don't know, the Dark Angels are not only one of the original Space Marine chapters, but the first ones ever made, though they have a dark secret that no one can know about!
Fallen? What Fallen? Never heard of any Fallen. Do you know about the Fallen? We're gonna take you away and mind probe you to make sure you have never heard of the Fallen. They definitely don't exist, and if they do exist, which they don't, we will find them even though they don't exist.
Long story made incredibly short, their Primarch and his best friend had a falling out. Best friend turned their homeworld against the Dark Angels and their Primarch, leading to the planet getting the Alderaan treatment. Their Primarch going missing, and the traitors known as the Fallen being scattered throughout space and time, because nothing can be simple in 40k.
End of flashback.
Since then, the Dark Angels have been rolling around a massive continent-sized ship called the Rock, made up of the only piece of their homeworld of Caliban that survived the battle, and outfitted to basically be the capital ship of their fleet. And in the center of it is an artifact that Vashdor wants. Using the Dark Angels' obsession with tracking down the fallen Dark Angels, Vashdor's forces ambushed the Dark Angels and got aboard the Rock, causing massive battles to break out throughout the warship. And with the Dark Angel Supreme Grand Master Azrael engaging in one-on-one combat between him and Vashdor. But before the demigod could kill him, someone came in to spoil the fun. Be'lakor, the first Demon Prince of Chaos, interfered in the honor duel and teleported Vashdor to the top of a tower where the two demons dueled. To sum it up, Be'lakor came in with a steel chair, humiliated Vashdor, then pulled a tuxedo mask from Sailor Moon and left. Vashdor, wounded and with his forces in disarray, fell back and realized that he has to step up his timetable, as the other Chaos Gods are starting to notice and sent the Forever Bridesmaid to fuck with him. Luckily for Vashdor and Abaddon, their agents managed to secure 9 of the 10 artifacts, with Vashdor knowing the best way to lure the Dark Angels into an obvious trap was to make a lure so infuriating that no one could ignore it. Vashdor, using his influence, infected the dreams of those Chaos forces captured by the Dark Angels to lure them to his new trap, which, when the Dark Angels arrived, they saw that Vashdor had rebuilt their homeworld of Caliban, and corrupted it to become his new demon world, called Wormwood. This sent the Dark Angels into a fury, like me fighting every goddamn inch for the new Thousand Suns battle box! And they fell right into the trap, with the Dark Angels being pitted against endless hordes of demonically possessed vehicles, along with Angron and his World Eaters. But Vashdor uses this moment to teleport into the bowels of the rock. Wait a second. Why didn't he do that before? Either way, to find an ancient device known as the Tucholka device, and with its permission, took it and fused it along with the other 9 artifacts to create the Dissonance Engine. The rest of the battle plays out with the Dark Angels being saved by not only the Blood Angels, but their returned Primarch, Lion L. Johnson, and his new bodyguards, the Risen. Those fallen Dark Angels who didn't join Chaos and could be redeemed, though even with Lionel besting Angron, the Imperial forces retreated to orbit, as Vashdor activated the Dissonance Engine. Using it, Vashdor ripped open a hole in space, and with the engines he installed on Wormwood, entered the portal, with the Dark Angels and Blood Angels in hot pursuit. And that's how Ark of Omen ends, with Vashdor and Abaddon winning. To many, Arks of Omen is that weird storyline where we got an interesting story that not only deepened the fluff of the Chaos Gods' great game, introduced a brand new and interesting protagonist/antagonist, and had a plot that tied together many other smaller stories throughout 40k. But it was also just Chaos wins out of nowhere. One book can be entirely ignored, and randomly, Lionel Johnson comes back from a 10,000-year coma. Kinda jarring, honestly. Either way, Arks of Omen gave us not only new units and updated models to play with, and gave us a new way to play 40k on a smaller scale, but it also gave us an ending, which is wild in 40k, because so many stories and events just don't end. Hell, it took 2 decades for them to end the Cadia storyline. So genuinely, it was interesting to see an event start at the end of 9th, and then properly conclude with the start of 10th edition. When we come back, we will be covering the story that progressed 40k's storyline, saying goodbye to old friends, and seeing the 13th son return to the fold with Gathering Storm. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to join the Patreon. You get to see exclusive unit and model reviews, along with some Battletech stuff. It really helps keep the lights and food on the table. I'll see you all next time.